So lately I've been thinking about to buy Nvidia stock. I put it on X, asking you guys if I should buy Nvidia stock, and everyone is like, oh yeah, you should. It's gonna continue going higher. You know, this thing has no competition at the moment. Tesla's buying as many chips as possible from them, and literally there's really nothing stopping them for the next, at least this year and next year, maybe even the year after that, of any competition. Like, there's no one gonna come and stop them. And I kind of have to agree with that, because Nvidia is killing it, and there's no reason why for the stock to go down, knowing that all these things are happening. This is the right recipe for a stock like Nvidia to roar the way it is and go even higher. And I also made a video about how Nvidia stocks can continue to go higher. You guys can check the video here. They're doing a 10-for-1 stock split. Things are just looking good for Nvidia, but things always have a limit. I don't know when Nvidia's limit is, but for now, the stock is going to continue to go higher. Even after the stock split, I think it's going to continue to go higher, probably even reaching over $3.5 to $4 trillion market cap, which is right now they're at 2.6 trillion. That's what, another like 30-40% increase, which is absolutely insane. But then I finally made my decision. I'm not going to be buying Nvidia stock. As you guys already know, I'm going all in into Tesla stock. And it's for a good reason. It's not because of the energy. It's not because of the vehicles. It's because of one thing and one thing only, and that's autonomy. Robotaxis, full self-driving cars. This is the real life game changer. This is it. But when this happens, not a question of if, but when this happens, that's when Tesla stock is gonna have a Nvidia moment. If you guys want to ask me, it's sooner than later. And I'm going to show you guys how and why I mean it's sooner than later, because it's all dependent on one thing and one thing alone. It's the Robotaxis, full self-driving, because that thing can scale and give extremely high margins, just like Nvidia. So let's get down to it. Smash that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, because we're going to talk some business today. So in order to find out how a Nvidia moment will look like for Tesla, we got to go back to see what a Nvidia moment was for Nvidia, which is quite funny because everybody was waiting for the Tesla moment for another stock, and they call it Tesla moment. Now we're calling it the Nvidia moment, because it kind of makes sense, because when Tesla had their moment, it was because of the EVs going profitable for the first time and cash flowing. Now it's chips with 80% margins. And so we need something similar to that for Tesla stock to roar the way it is and to continue roaring the way it is. So we got to go back to, I think it was a year ago from today, in Nvidia's Q2 earnings of 2024. Was it Q3? I'm not too sure. It's one of those quarters that they came out and shocked everybody. Prior to that, Nvidia wasn't doing really well. Even their stock, if you take a look at their stock, prior to this massive roar, it kept going lower and lower and lower, because they were getting a lot of restrictions from the government, US government, that they can't sell their chips to China, and they weren't selling as many chips as they thought they would. And 2 years in a row, their earnings kept going lower and lower. Kind of looks like what Tesla is going through right now. But then all of a sudden they had a massive breakthrough with their H100 chips, and things change forever. In Q2 of 2023, Nvidia comes out with a banger of an earnings, beating just expectations out of the water. And then you had earnings call come, and they said that, yeah, we have massive demand and we are now scaling, and we're going to fulfill that demand. And we're not going to fulfill this demand for the next, I think, 2 years or 3 years, what they said at that time last year. This got Wall Street extremely excited, because they gave them a guidance of what to expect in the future. And they literally priced in the stock 1 year before. And that's what the stock went up like 30, 40, 50, 60%. Just, it was crazy. It was an insane moment. It was a Nvidia moment. But that's just the start. As you guys can see now, it's continuing, and it's just breaking records every single quarter. It's absolutely insane. And these are with margins, like almost 80% margins. It's crazy. And there's no competition right now. Like, there's nothing stopping this beast at the moment. You have Tesla coming out and saying, we're buying as much as we can with these chips, so we're not compute strained with our FSD, so we can continue progressing the full self-driving and get our Robotaxi out as soon as possible. We need to have this Nvidia moment, this perfect quarter earnings with awesome guidance for Tesla in order for the stock to go crazy like this. I think this is actually going to be happening sooner than we think. Let's just pull back a little bit. What do I mean by this? I don't mean next year. I don't mean maybe the 2 years after that. I'm a long-term investor of Tesla stock. 2030 for me is not, I mean, it's only 6 years from now. 2024, 2030 is only 6 years from now. And that's how long I'm planning to hold Tesla stock, at least till 2030. I'm thinking maybe 2 to 3 years, 3 years being the latest. Obviously, don't quote me on this, and none of this is financial advice. I'm just my opinion and based on what I'm seeing, because we are getting a Robotaxi on August 8th. That is the unveil and the plan, and they're gonna say, they 100% gonna say they're gonna start next year in 2025. And if they can start next year and they can see, Wall Street can see that the first Robotaxi or even the first full self-driving vehicles at up to take rate, but let's put that on the side for now. The first Robotaxi, they can see the revenue and profits coming, and then they come out and say, yeah, it's, 30, 40, 50% profit margin on this business alone. I reckon it's more than that, but let's just keep it conservative. And we're going to continue scaling by orders of magnitude of 10, multiple of 10, multiple of 20, multiple of 30 every single 2-3 months. Because if there's one thing that Tesla is really good at doing, and that's scaling, and they are going balls to the walls with this Robotaxi stuff, with this autonomy stuff, you bet your ass that they're going to be going scaling with this and making a crap ton of money once this is on the road and good to go. It's only then, when Wall Street can see it, it's off to the races. To give you guys some idea, I have a chart here that I made that goes over the Robotaxi of Tesla's fleet alone. I do have a customer fleet as well, but that's a little bit more complicated, because how is that gonna integrate with Tesla's Robotaxi network? Elon did say some, not all, but some can. But I do reckon that what's more realistic is Tesla doing their own Robotaxi fleet themselves first, then that. If you guys want to see these two together, check it out here in this video in the card in the corner. I did do both of them there and I went into great details, but in this video, I'm only going to show you guys a Robotaxi fleet because that makes the most sense, and this is extremely conservative as well. And I'm going to show you guys how this could really just roar the stock up one day. 2-3 years time or something like that. So let's get down to it. Smash that like button. So right off the bat, the thing that pops in your eyes is the revenue chart and the fleet earnings chart that Tesla's going to be earning. And you can see the exponential growth going, and it literally starts in the 2029s and 2030s that starts to roar up even more. But let's break this down even further. At the bottom long chart, you can see how I broke down the Robotaxi's Tesla's fleet from the year fleet, base fare of $1, cost per mile 50 cents, trips per day is about 30, because think about it, if these are autonomous vehicles, other than charging, there's no reason for them to not be working, right? So that's why I put 30. Average mile per trip is 5 miles. So 30 times 5 is 150 miles being driven every day for Robotaxi services only. Expenses, it's going down every single year, but this includes the cleaning, the insurance, the depreciation, the maintenance, the tires, the FSD as well, and the actual vehicle that Tesla makes on cost, because they're not going to be selling it to customers, they're going to be doing it themselves. So that includes in their expenses. Revenue per day will be around $105. Revenue annually, if they have 500 fleets of vehicles doing this, will be just below $20 million. Total expense will be $14.5 million, and the earnings for Tesla will be around 4.7 million. This would be an operating margin, right? Not gross profits, but an operating margin of 24%, which is not bad. But obviously, once they scale, as you guys can see, and the expenses keep coming lower, we have an operating margin percentage closer to 40%. So that's an insane moment. But when is the Nvidia moment, guys? When is the Nvidia moment? Here, I have 2026, and I'm saying that 500 fleets going to start. Realistically, I think sometime next year or end of next year is when Tesla's going to start doing these fleets in places that they're already allowed to, like Phoenix or San Francisco, and they're going to be starting there. Now, what's really important here is that they're actually going to be generating some revenue and profits. And let's say by 2026, not 2025, 2026, the 500 fleet, they generate about $20 million in revenue, and they get to earn about $4.7 million in profit. That's absolutely nothing for Tesla. If you give that a 30 PE, that's $140 million added on to the valuation, to the market cap, which is unnoticeable. However, though, we know that Wall Street is forward looking, and we also know that when they come out with these earning numbers and these revenue numbers, the earnings call is going to be fire. We can sense it. Elon's going to come out, or whoever it is going to come out and say that, yeah, we have 500 fleet. Next year, we're going to double it to, let's say, 1,000. And then we're going to continue, keep scaling 10,000, 100,000, 200,000 to other parts of the city. And we're going to open in China as well, because they have a deal there as well with the Robotaxis right now. And so we expect to make this much in revenue and in profits going forward. This is the margin that we're aiming for. Wall Street at that time will give Tesla a premium, more of a premium for this business alone, just like how they did with Nvidia. I expect, obviously the first year it's not going to be much, but a 30 PE wouldn't make sense if they're gonna start scaling. I would probably even put this closer to 100 PE, because we saw Nvidia go as high as 300 PE last year, which was absolutely crazy. So if we go to like 100 PE, that is $500 million added on to the market cap in 2026. So again, it's not gonna move the stock one way or the other. Even if we do give it 100 PE, let's go back to a 30 PE. What will do it is when the fleet increases to around maybe 100,000 globally around the world, and they make a annual revenue of just $3.8 billion and fleet earnings of 1.2 billion, and then they come out and they say that, yeah, we reached 100,000 fleets, we're aiming for 200, 500,000, 100, 1 million. We're going to continue scaling this business higher and higher with higher margins, higher revenue. With a 30 PE for this number for 2029, or 100,000 fleets, is almost 37 billion in just market cap. Now again, this is with a 30 PE. You think Wall Street is going to give this a 30 PE? Let's go back to that $123 billion in market cap, added on to whatever Tesla's business is going to be in 2029. If you add the vehicles, the energy, the insurance, the supercharging network, everything, then you have this slapped onto it as well. I think even 100 PE would be a little bit conservative as well. Maybe let's go to 200 PE. $250 billion just slapped onto the valuation, because now Wall Street knows that this thing is going to scale, and we know exactly how to calculate this and what to expect, just like with Nvidia. Now here, obviously guys, I have it here until 2029 that 100,000 fleets, but I'm just keeping this conservative. The fleet could be 100,000, could be happening sometime in 2028, maybe even in 2027, depending how fast and how quick Tesla wants to scale these robotaxis. At the moment, it's all speculation until August 8th, so we get an idea how it is. But it's sooner than we think, guys. I mean, even look at 2035. If you look at this in 2035 with 8 million fleets on the road doing robotaxi, generating over $300 billion in revenue and making over $100 billion in just robotaxi business alone, and with a 30 PE, that's 3.5 trillion market cap. I don't think 3.5 trillion market cap would make sense at that time when they're generating 100 billion, when they doubled more than their previous year because they doubled the robotaxi fleet, which is just insane. 60 PE, at least around 7 trillion around that time would be crazy. But the question is, will 8 million happen by 2035, or will it happen sooner? That's the real question. 100,000 vehicles, I can see that happening sooner. 8 million, I could probably see that happening probably by 2030, because it's just a matter of scaling. It's just a matter of scaling. And even if you add the current existing vehicles onto the robotaxi fleet, my God, it's going to be an insane moment. Not even a Nvidia moment. It's going to be an insane moment. And guys, we haven't even talked about the licensing or the current Teslas on the road take rate increasing because of full self-driving. This is just robotaxi, one side of it, and it's a massive business. And this is why, guys, I'm not planning to buy Nvidia stock. I'm just going to continue buying Tesla stock. Yes, it's stressful. Investing in Tesla right now is stressful with Elon, with the voting and all that, noise. But look at the underlying business of it. Look at the underlying business of it. You guys will see what's going on, and that's what I care about. Now, this is how I think the Nvidia moment will happen with Tesla, even though I think this is more gonna be the insane moment for Tesla. There is other catalysts that can bring the Tesla stock higher that doesn't have to do with robotaxi, like for example, interest rate cuts. I think once we get that cut, we can see the stock going up 10-15%. But I'm talking about the big roar ups, like the 30, 40, 50% overnight, like Nvidia. That's what I'm talking about. And in order for that to happen, we need these. Wall Street needs to understand these. It needs to know that it's actually happening and it's generating profits and revenue. Until then, this is what it is. This is how the stock is going to be trading. It's going to be trading based on noise, not much on fundamentals. And even though fundamentals right now with the vehicles, as you guys know, it's not doing the best either. So until we get these robotaxi full self-driving, these software margins up and running with Tesla and telling us that, hey guys, we are going to be ramping this much this year with this much profit, all these good things and juicy things that Wall Street wants, how the stock is performing right now is going to continue performing the way it is. Which I don't mind because I'm just buying more as much as I possibly can until these things start to come into fruition. As I mentioned this on X, guys, Tesla stock is the next mega stock to explode. First it was Meta, then it was Nvidia. Now it's time for Tesla. Whether it's next year or after Robotaxi or the year after that, we have to see this stock roar because of all these potentials. And Tesla is in the lead for it. Sheesh! That's when I think Tesla's gonna have a Nvidia moment, or should we call it the insane moment. And a lot of you guys are asking me, how can I be so bullish on Tesla? Check this video out right here and you guys know exactly why. I've never been this bullish before on Tesla. While everyone's hating on it, I'm loving it. Check that out. You'll all be disappointed, guys. Get your I bought the dev t-shirt for Tesla because as we saw with the Nvidia and Meta stock, this is also the dip. Subscribe and I shall see you guys in the next video. See ya.